Welcome back to Long Box Diving, where we explore comics and story arcs pulled from the long box. And it is time to do our top 3 review. Of course, as we know, we don't have the young whippersnapper anymore since he's off doing some college stuff, and so it's just me. You got to deal with that. It's just this. So we're only going to do 3. They're going to be kind of quick. They're not long, and we're going to cover the top 3 books this week. As you can see, there was a lot of books this week. Over and above the top 3, and there were a lot of good ones. We just can't cover them all. Some honorary mentions. Department of Truth was interesting. We had Year Zero. Finally, Savage Avengers are back. Devil's Highway. So there are some good books that were in that list, but they did not make the top 3 this week. So first in the top 3 is Batman 3 Jokers Book 2. Batman 3 Jokers Book 2. Now, Geoff Johns is doing a fantastic job with this in the story. Jason Fabek, his art is just top notch. It is fantastic. It is great. So we get basically there are if you've read book 1, understand there's going to be spoilers. This is a spoiler review because this is the top 3 books, and you will hear some things you may not want to hear. So you might want to turn it off now if you're not wanting to be spoiled. But book 1. We have 3 Jokers, and we have the comedian, the criminal, and I forgot what the last one was. Comedian, Joker, and the criminal, and the clown. That's what it was. All right, so we have those 3. Red Hood, Batgirl, and Batman are all basically looking for this because they're turning a bunch of people into Jokers all across Gotham for some reason. So now, why there's 3 Jokers, we don't know yet. They each take on a personality of the Joker, and they're turning a bunch of people in Gotham into Jokers. Now, the last one, they had captured the clown, Red Hood and Batgirl, and Red Hood basically executed him right there. So, boom, dead. Now, what's interesting is these 3 are the ones that really had problems with the Joker. I mean, Red Hood was killed by the Joker back when he was Robin. Batgirl was crippled and paralyzed by the Joker a long time ago, so she became Oracle after that. So there is a lot of history between these 3 characters and the Joker himself, and we get this start up with the Joker just crazy. He's having dinner with his wife and kid, and then come to find out it's just a mannequin, and it's just like a statue or something like that. It's really weird. And so they're actually doing some stuff, and then we see that Red Hood is basically ahead of Batman and Batgirl. So he's figuring out some things. Batman is figuring out that Joe Chill's fingerprints were involved. Now, Joe Chill, if you don't remember, is the guy who murdered his parents. Why he's involved with the Jokers, why his fingerprints are involved. So they end up going to the prison, and he's not there. He's in the infirmary. He is messed up. He is dying. So how was he involved? They don't know. But his fingerprints were there, somehow used by the Joker to do that. And then Red Hood walks in and sees this. And basically, the Joker had created a whole swimming pool of the chemicals that made him the Joker. And a person comes out, and Red Hood had taken his mask off, and then he gets captured. All right. And then he literally gets beat down with a crowbar. Now, if you remember, I believe that is how the Joker killed him, Jason Todd, as a kid, as Robin, with a crowbar. So, the way Geoff Johns is tying all these things together, we see they find Red Hood, they bring him back. He is messed up. They help him recover over in Gordon's house, Batgirl's house, and then he sees like the wheelchair in her closet and the books on chronic pain management, etc. And then we get this tender moment where they end up kissing. And then she's like, oh, well, you shouldn't have done that. Maybe they'll fall for each other. I don't know. But we figured out we got the 3 clowns, the criminal, the clown, and the comedian. Batman's tracing some things on the map. And then we see that Joe Chill is being interviewed by one of the Jokers. And that, yeah, you'll have to figure out what that is. So that is crazy. This book has been crazy, but the throwback to a lot of the history has been great. So, fantastic book. Art, 5, and story 5. So that is really a really good book, and it's on book 2. I don't know if it's going to be maybe 3 issues. I don't know. But if you're not on this, you want to get that. That is fantastic. All right, so next, the second book in our top three is actually going to be the X of Swords, X Factor. Now, X Factor in and of itself, by Leah Williams, is had a great concept of a group of mutants who use their powers to solve crime, specifically murders of mutants, so that they can confirm whether they should be rezzed or not, which is cool. That's a good idea. But the execution has not been good. Then we get to X of Swords. X of Swords is running through all the X books, 22 different issues. Again, not excited about 22 issues, and I'm not getting certain issues. I'm not getting Excalibur. I'm not planning on it, unless the story just continues as good as it does. Now, the first one, Creation, was fantastic. That was last week. That was great. Really set up the plot, really set up the story, put consequences, the good stuff in there. There are things going on, and it's a good X-Men story. And then we get to this. I'm like, okay, so this is part two. It's Leah Williams, but it's not really X Factor. It is still the X of Swords story through the X Factor book. It doesn't really change the focus of the characters. It is still the same focus that we carried on from Creation into this story. There's really we don't get a change of focus, which is nice. We're following the same story all the way through without having to worry about that. So that may allow me to get Marauders and Excalibur and things like that I've dropped, if the story continues as well as it does. Now, as we know, that Apocalypse got basically backstabbed by his children. His children took him out, poisoned him. Somehow he and Richter are tied together. I don't know how yet. Somehow Saturnine is still blocking the minds, and somehow put a bunch of stuff into Polaris' mind about the swords they have to gather. And Rockslide is murdered, right? So they try to res Rockslide, and they try to res Richter. Now, they're able to bring Richter back, but Rockslide is not Rockslide. And so when Professor X tries to put the mind of Rockslide back into his body, all the Cerebrals explode and short circuit. So we see his short circuit, Rachel, I think, short circuit, or Hope short circuits. We see the Cradle in House of M, the Cradle in the Summer House, the Cradle in the Point, the Cradle in Mora's No Place. They all kind of short circuit. And what we've come to figure out is that if you die on the other side of that rift in the other world, what they think happens is that, because how Cerebro backs up every mutant mind, but when you go over into the other world, it's backing up every possibility of your mutant mind, and then it short circuits Cerebro when they try to put you back. So they got Rockslide back, but it's not their Rockslide. It is every possibility of Rockslide in that body, which kind of means if you die over in the other world, you're dead. You are dead. When they bring you back, it's not you. It's every possibility of you, which is not you. So they know when they go into this battle arena with the swords after they gather they're toast. If they die, they're toast. Right? That really brings real consequences into for a long time. If the X-Men can res, what's the use? What does it matter? There's no consequences to anything. Why did Storm fight off the legacy virus? Who cares? In the one shots, he just could have died and been resed. I understand why because Apocalypse, if you fight, mutants fight. Got it. But you could just die and be resed. So what does it matter? Well, there's no consequences. Now there is. So if they go in that other world to battle, there is consequences. There are costs for doing this, and then they use Rockslide's body to build this array, this new portal, because Saturnine closes the portal, which of course Krakoa does not like. So he is Krakoa's he's gonna piss. Then Magic steps on her square with her sword, and apparently she is the first of 10. I think it's 10 swords total. Polaris does cite a prophecy. So I know all the X-nerds are going through that and kind of going, okay, what does it mean? What are all these things? They have a nice index page here at the back that kind of goes through that prophecy. But the art in here was spectacular. We got Polaris. That's great. Some of the Xavier stuff here. I mean, look at that. It's beautiful stuff. So we have Gomez doing the art, and he does a great job with the art. I love it when Banshee shouts help, and You can feel the energy there. You can feel the death of people. You see the death of Richter as he's poisoned, and them trying to bring him back. So overall, great. I don't know X Factor itself is good, but X of Swords Part 2 that happens to be an X Factor was fantastic. So that was number 2 of 3 for this week for our top reviews. Our top comics. 3 top comics. All right. All right, so for the last one, this was a first book, and it was really good. It was called Shang Chi, number 1. Now, there were some other good books, like, we had Department of Truth was really pretty good. The Justice League was okay. Multiverse was okay. Doctor Strange Academy, Savage Land was pretty good. Year Zero, I didn't like how it ended so well, but there was some other good ones in this that were okay. But this was really good. All right, so we get some good backstory into what's going on. Now, the first part of the book is drawn in a Chinese manga style, and it's really fantastic. But it's a throwback, right? So it's going back to the past, thousands of years, back to the early Qing Dynasty, and how the 5-weapon society was formed. And then we get this girl, I think Sister Hammer, decides to take out Brother Staff, right? She wants to be the new ruler. But the father, whatever his name is, Shang-Chi's father's name is Wang Zhu. So Wang Zhu is chosen the House of the Fist, which just happens to be Shang-Chi, who is the leader of that house. But he's kind of given it all up. He's moved to America. He's working in a bakery. He's got a phone number from a girl. And then he sees an ex-girlfriend, and then a couple bad guys jump through a window to beat him up, and then some of the bad guys turned on the other bad guys, and now it's Brother Saber and Sister Dagger, and they're like, "You need to come back with us." He's like, "I don't want nothing to do with this." But what he comes to find out is that Sister Hammer is still trying to take over the whole Society of 5 Weapons or whatever it's called, and we end with Shang-Chi going, "Hey, I need to save my little sister," and Sister Hammer saying, "I need to kill my big brother," because he believes she is still wrapped up in the occult part of this old society that his father founded. The action in it is fantastic. The drawings, the art, and the 2 different styles, great. I really loved this variant cover, the black with him coming out like that. Inuit. Lee In-hyuk drew it. It's just beautiful. And so the art was great. The storytelling was really good, and the characters are different. So Shang-Chi is different than the girl. The girl is different than the sister, the brother. All these characters are all different. They're different characteristics, and coming together. The story's great. They set up a good plot line. We have stakes in this. It's really fantastic. So if you didn't get this, you probably need to go back to your LCS and pick it up, because that was fantastic. So those were our top 3 reviews of the week, top 3 books. And again, we will cover some more next week after we do a new comic book day. And again, a lot of the books were really good. I mean, there's a ton of comics this week. I think I got 15 comics. So we'll have more stuff next week, and we'll do another haul video sometime next week. So enjoy this weekend. Read your comics, collect comics, and we'll see you next time here in the Long Box.